Mesdames, Messieurs,
Ladies and gentlemen, to Madam Chair, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your invitation. I am Amélie Durand-Lot, the Executive Director of the Quebec Intellectual Disability Society, and I'm accompanied by my colleague Samuel Rago, a Senior Policy Analyst at the Society and a doctoral student at McGill University's School of Social Work. He's working on the issue of financial security for persons with disabilities. We're pleased to be here to speak to you about our position on C-22, especially in the immediate aftermath of Quebec's Intellectual Disability Week, which included issues related to financial security and dignity. First, as we've done in the other place, and as hundreds of other organizations have called for, we must emphasize the urgency of moving forward with the rapid passage of C-22. This bill could play a key role in lifting persons with disabilities out of poverty across the country. In this sense, it is an opportunity that has not been presented in decades. Of course, we realize that voting on a framework legislation which contains few details is uncomfortable. However, with the benefits of the amendments made in the other place, we believe that it is the right thing to do. On the one hand, there is an urgent need for action to ensure the financial security of persons with disabilities across the country. And on the other, we have experience with the successful development of regulations related to framework legislation in the context of the Basic Income Program in Quebec. Like C-22, Quebec's Basic Income Program is the result of a framework legislation aimed at lifting persons out of poverty, and we want to be able to work with provincial governments to reach a final regulation that satisfies all parties involved. In the case of the Canada Benefit, we believe that the regulatory process could be expedited since the other place has already adopted several major amendments. Numerous consultations have already taken place, and the dialogue with the provinces and territories is ongoing. Additionally, the sums reserved in yesterday's budget point toward a robust consultation process. We're happy. Good evening. I would like to speak to you now about the importance of working with the provinces and territories. As you know, provinces and territories all have financial assistance programs for persons with disabilities or some welfare for persons that cannot work. The provinces and territories all have financial assistance programs with disabilities, but it's crucial that these programs be in coordination with the new benefits so as not to penalize persons with disabilities. For example, in Quebec, as of January the 1st, 23, we now have a basic income program, a first in Canada and probably in the world. While this program is not perfect and we continue to make representations to the provincial government, we must ensure that the Canadian benefit will interact positively with it. And we want the benefit to complement existing programs. We are confident that such negotiations will be successful. And we hope as well to work with the provinces and territories. We think that it will be important that the government benefit be fully individualized and it not be based on spousal earnings to limit issues of financial dependency, that it provide a real pathway out of poverty, and that it allow people to work without clawbacks. It's a set question of dignity. For persons who live with disabilities, we do not want to see the welfareization of disability. And what we have to do now is hope that the territorial governments and the provincial governments will adapt their existing programs to the new benefit. Since several amendments were adopted in the other place, we believe it's time for the Senate to proceed with speedy adoption without amendments of C-22. In our view, the amendments adopted are sufficient to ensure that the regulatory process will be inclusive and that it will have clear and relatively binding guidelines for the federal government. The fact that the federal government has already set aside funding to conduct consultation is important. As for Quebec, we are confident that the governments will negotiate in good faith. Many persons with disabilities no longer can wait, and it is time to act. We are available, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to explain our experience in Quebec to you if you so desire. Thank you for listening.